Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you so much and welcome back. Just finishing off my SPF before I talk to you. I was in a quandary about all the things that I was going to talk to you about, and then I looked at myself and I thought, no, I'm going to do a makeup that matches my top. So we're going to do a warm, soft, caramelly, bronzy, cozy makeup. That's what we're going to do. I've just started my SPF. I've started my skincare with my SPF Indew. Now, I just thought I'd start with a little bit of a teenage intro. This brand is actually targeted at teenagers because there's this whole thing. It's been going on for a long time, actually. It was in the news on the weekend about how much skincare teenagers are using and how it's detrimental to their skin, which it is, and it's all about keeping it simple and lightweight. This brand is all of that. It's quite affordable. This is £25. And I've just really enjoyed using it. SPF 50. Sits really well under makeup and it gives a nice tacky finish. But I know a lot of you obviously have children who watch this. This is a really good brand to look at. And one of our lovely followers who has a daughter said, oh gosh, she doesn't say press subscribe and add to followers or whatever you're meant to do. So if you could press the subscribe button, that would be wonderful. Yeah, I feel quite awkward, as you can tell, doing things like that. But anyway, that's what I meant to do. So here I am. Right, SPF on. Thank you so much for all the lovely comments about Marlin. She's one of my dearest friends and she was really nervous coming on. So I'm so proud of her and thank you for all the comments. It made a world of difference to her. So thanks to you lot. Right, so on with this makeup. A bit pale and pasty and a bit washed out, probably because of the colour that I'm wearing. So I'm just going to warm up my skin with this Swede Glass foundation. I'm warming it up because the colour is a little warm for my skin, but it's going to counteract the redness in my skin. But it's super, super sheer and light. And for that reason, very, very light. Look, you can see how it's dripping down. It is not a thick consistency, but it's nice and buildable. With that in mind, like I say to you, I like to put it on. I was going to do one side of my face and not the other to show you the difference. But you'll get there with me. You'll get there with me. I'm putting it on with my fingers because it's a light base. I don't want any tools, brushes or sponges to absorb any product until I want to buff it out. But the reason that I love this base, and anyone with dry skin will agree with me, is that it hydrates throughout the day. It's thin, so it doesn't feel like a tight mask. It kind of moves with your skin. It's a really lovely consistency. So as you can see, I'm just sort of placing it and layering it on the skin before I start buffing it in. Now, as you can see, there's a little bit of difference in the colour of my neck. My neck is always lighter than my face. So I just need to make sure that's balanced down so everything becomes one. Now, after I've done this, I'm not going to take the flat brush. I'm going to take the number 2 and just buff that away from my T-zone, slightly over my nose. I'm not a fan of putting a lot of makeup over my nose. I find that your nose is the most forward feature of your face. And if you heavily powder your nose, it becomes very makeup obvious. So if you can just put, even if it's just like a little bit of primer, spritz, spray after your makeup, it just tends to lighten that finish around the nose. But a heavily powdered nose can make the whole makeup look even soft in colour and texture, quite heavy. Let me just move that mirror so I'm not kind of diving to the side. That would make more sense, wouldn't it? Here we go. So how nice is that? Again, with everything that I will recommend to you on this channel, everything is super light and pleasurable to place on your skin. I get sent quite a lot of products. I test a lot of products for magazines, Marie Claire, Top Santé, Woman and Home, Natural Health magazine. So I get to see products that I love and that I don't particularly love. And obviously the ones that I love only come to you guys, so you know that. But I just love this kind of lovely skin dewy finish. Now, I did the BAFTAs the other day, and I got introduced to a couple of Lancome products. This is a really beautiful eyeshadow and it's quite bronzy, but I thought this would be really nice against this kind of lip and cheek from MAC. You see where I'm going with this? It's really quite nice to kind of add those colours. Now, obviously if you wanted a contrast with a kind of nice camely beigey top, you could go with a beautiful coral, or you could go for a very dark brick red smoky eye, something like that. But I just feel I want to be sort of warm and cozy, so I've selected those colours. I also just chucked in just a few little more really beautiful Rare Beauty products. They've got some lovely contour products that they've just launched with warm and cool tones. And then the liquid camo from e.l.f. is also good. So we're going to try a little bit of those products, but let's start with this concealer. This is the 250. I haven't used this before. I'll always preface with that. But this is an everywhere concealer, they call it, I think. An all over concealer. So I wanted to check how this was going to sit under my eyes, because very often, especially if I'm walking the dog, I will just chuck on a little bit of SPF and blend a little bit of concealer, as I'm sure you guys do, over my annoying red bits and dark bits. So it's quite nice to find a concealer that isn't too light. Like often I would always apply a concealer that's like much lighter than my foundation in order to create that beautiful shape. Sometimes you just want to knock back and even out. So I thought I'd just try this. So we'll see how that wears. Just with my finger, I'm really impressed with how that's migrated into the skin. That's really, really nice. Let me put a little bit of my favourite product. Actually, I did go and get another mattifying product the other day. I need to go and get that out of my pro kit. If you're using any kind of like pore filling or line filling product, it's always important to stretch the skin first so that when it relaxes it all fills in. Otherwise it doesn't go down into the little crevices that you want to sort of fill out. That makes such a difference. Benefit do Pores No More, which is nice, and they've also got a nice Pores No More which is super light and a little bit more sort of almost water-based. I was trying it in the shop the other day, so if you've got a combination skin you might find that that's really nice and a little bit lighter and less heavy. Also, if you have a dry skin, the lighter version might help. That's Pores No More and is like a newer version if you're interested in that. Right, we're going to try out the Lancome Light Brown Brow Define Pencil. So the artist, Tom Felton, who I was working with Lancome for the BAFTAs. In England, Lancome is always the big beauty sponsor of BAFTA, and they get a team of artists backstage who are getting everybody ready. And then you get some artists who have to get the actors and actresses ready sort of off-site at their house in different hotels and stuff, so you get a few little products to complete your look. So this is very nice, and I love these as a makeup artist anyway because I can see the colour. I quite like that. You know, if you've got a few brow pencils, lip liners, eyeliner pencils, and everything's black, it's kind of just annoying because you just want to see the colour. I quite liked the way that this was just super, super soft. I'm going to have to probably just get the camera to show you Willow on the floor. Hey, honey. Hey, Willow. Hey, sweetheart. You filming the makeup? Yeah. Okay, darling. Oh, I'm sleepy. Okay, I'll let you rest. I'll let you rest. Obviously has a green collar and a green bed. Right, okay, so good skin, right? That feels really nice. So as you know, I've been using the Mario for such a long time. You know I love that. I thought it was time to change it up a bit. And I was thinking, do I want this e.l.f. cameo? But I'm thinking it's too cool. I need something a little bit warmer. You can see the difference there. You can see the coolness once I put it against a lip gloss. I'm going to try and keep talking to you and explaining about the cool and warm tones, and then I think after a while it will just kind of sink in because visually you will get it. Can you believe it? I may have a little dappling of sunshine on my skin. What is that round yellow thing in the sky? It seems like it's lighting up the world. Anyone else been starved of UV and sunshine? I'm like popping 2 or 3 vitamin Ds a day. Anyway, back to cool and warm. It's one of those things that you don't see it until you see it. So I'm trying to make sure that I include lots of options for you. So MAC, after talking to Marlin, I was kind of like, oh, I might pop into MAC. So I got this Ginger Luck blush. I got a couple of blushes actually, but I'm going to go with this one today. It's slightly warmer. It's a funny old consistency. I mean, I don't mean that detrimentally. It's sort of, it's like a cream, but it's a powder. Okay, I'm going to put it on with my fingers because I think with a brush, I'm not going to actually be able to get it on. As in, it's very, let me just try with a brush to show you. So this is a flat, firm brush. I couldn't use this brush, for instance, because it's too soft and you'll just end up with the streaks. It needs to have a little bit of firmness. Obviously our little kitten paw brush would be great for that too, but I want quite a large surface area. Let's see. Well, after all that, that's totally fine with the brush. I thought it was going to be too soft. I suppose I love just seeing how the product sits on the skin before, just like totally without anything else softening it or distributing it, just to see how it works. You don't need to bother with that. Okay, so let's carry on. This is something that I want to create a nice flushy blush. So rather than just keeping it up, oh gosh, I really like this. I'm going to bring it quite far down. And the intensity, okay, that's too hard there. Let's take a clean brush, the number 3, such a good corrector, and just make sure that softens down. It will soften down anyway. It looks too, you wouldn't finish it here, by the way. I'm just seeing how that works, but that is really nice. Okay, so going in with the number 3, because this has got such a lovely, almost sharp edge, look what you can create with this. You see how that just freshens up the eyes straight away. But you can see where I'm a bit liney there. That's gone into, I'm going to take this down across the bridge of my nose very lightly and then go back in. Because it's got a point, it's not going to put it on the lid. It's going to just keep it into the socket, which is really nice. Now, I'll just bring that round just a little bit. Okay, good. It's just going to be our first base, and then I'm going to carry, it's not really like a bronzer, I don't want too much, so I'm just adding a tiny bit of colour. You could obviously use a bronzer if you wanted to, but just the more kind of natural tones, or the more tones that you can get in to your complexion in the right place, gives that lovely soft finish. Okay. So I got the Sachu lip liner. Someone said that it was a bit gimmicky, the film, which, you know, I can see where you're going with that. But if you know us, you would know that it is all about the love of beauty. So I wanted to do this properly because I'd had a little experiment. I didn't think it would be as good as it is. And I think that's more to do with the colour. The colour on these have always been a bit sort of like reddy and like tinty, but what I love about this, what Marlin said, is it creates a lovely line. Now, I don't want to take it all the way to the end there, and I make sure that the bottom of the lip is even. If I've left that too late, we'll soon see. Just build that up. Okay, so you've got a little bit of blendability within that time. Okay, well, let's leave that for now. See what goes on with that. Right, we're going to be using this lovely Lancome, the shade 03. And it's a really beautiful creamy eyeshadow, but it's quite dark. Look at that. But it's also very shiny. So I suggest that we place that on the centre of the lid. And then take the number 9, because obviously it's got the little point, so you don't have the product building up too much. That's lovely. Now I'm going to use that brush just very gently so I can get a wash of colour underneath. But look how that distributes the product. Oopsie. So softly. So it's creating just a lovely shadow. Obviously the lips are a bit distracting, but we can get rid of those in a minute. I think it's so lovely, and I really want to encourage women to do this more, is to get dressed in whatever you want to get dressed. Maybe you've got Anna, my colour code friend, in your ear going, oh, well, you're doing a presentation today, so maybe you should wear blue, or you're feeling really creative and energetic, so wear yellow, whatever you took from Anna. And then you put your clothes on to adjust your mood, lift your mood, to elevate your mood, or just to simply comfort your mood. And then have, you know, a variation of makeup in your bag, colours and tones and washes, etc., or different ways to apply them, and then kind of balance it together. It's nice. It's just sort of, you know, it's like interior design, isn't it? Just organising the face. Right, let's see if this comes off now. I haven't done it since Marlin came over, because I had to buy it, and then I couldn't get into the shops. There we go, sort of in one go. Okay, so that wasn't like a perfected. I haven't been practicing that, clearly. But I love that stain on the lower lip. That's so, so nice. It's made such a difference. It's not even, I know that, but I'll get better at it. But that was my first application. But I quite like that. I really like that. In fact, I'm going to go again, because this side is heavier. And I realise now that I can be a little bit more generous. I'm going to do it just in this inner section. I'm happy with the lower lip. So you can really, actually, when you get it, don't be too timid. Let's layer it up and see whether I can then get a really good, like, removal. Just going into my fine lines. Great. And that comes off very easily. Keep building. Get the right shape. Let's now see if we can pull this off. Okay, this looks like it's going to come off a little bit better. One strip, okay, perfect. Now that's really interesting, and I'm really glad that I did that with you, because hasn't that just shown you that you can really go much more than you thought you would? It's kind of created this blurring effect on this side as well. That's really good. Doesn't feel anything but lovely and tight. It's not as brown as I thought, but it still works for this look. It's pretty good, isn't it? Right, okay. Next, let's go in with the Lash Idol Flutter Extension Mascara from Lancome, which has 480 different bristles for lash lengthening, non-clumping mascara. First time I've tried this. Feels very light, brushing through the lashes very delicately. Like it's a very clean mascara. Let's go underneath my eyes. Yeah, I would probably go for something that, personally, for my lashes is a little bit heavier, as you know. But if you have long lashes, if you have fine lashes, if you want a tint to your lashes and you want elongation, you want length, this is going to be a really great option. I just prefer just something a little bit more exaggerated. But this is great. I'm going to go in with the second coat. Look at that. If you have trouble with mascara that clogs and you're like having to take a comb to your lash and comb it through afterwards, then this is brilliant. You are going to love this. And the lighter the lash, the lighter the mascara, the lighter the formula, the more lift you get. Right, let's go in with a third application and see how that affects. See whether we can start to clump it up. Hey, clump it up. You gotta clump it up. Hey, da da da. You gotta, I don't know what the real words are, but hey, clump it up is so much better. You're singing along now, aren't you? I know you are, because you've really got that tune from my out of tune singing. Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely banging mascara if that's what you want. Beautiful, elongated, lengthened lashes without any clumping whatsoever. Good. Okay. Let me now go in with the lip. Now, I was just going to use the really beautiful Affair by Lisa Eldridge. Let's see how that balances the rest of the makeup. This is mine. I'm going to go straight on. Excuse me. Straight on from the doe foot. The thing you can get wrong with this kind of makeup is that it ends up being all browny, and then you need a little bit of a lift. And I was just considering how that looked on my face, and I thought we'll just give it a go. Now, when I'm using like a gloss balm like this, God, it's great. It's so much easier with that line. I put it on, and I put it on where I sort of feel like, okay, I'm comfortable with that, but is it going to travel? So then I just take a nice little cotton bud, not so much underneath, but definitely on top, just to remove that little excess bit, or just a little finger. Just going over the top lip kind of softens that. My hair is a little bit massive. Oh, I'm going to show you this hair oil. That's really good. What do we think? I don't mind actually. I don't mind the warmth to this. Probably maybe need like a little bit of bronzer maybe to go with it, because this is quite pinky. I'm going to use the same brush because I want a mixture, and I'm going to be using the Ilia Eclipse. This is the Sun Shift Cream Bronzer. This is really glowy, and it might just give me a little bit of something. Or it might just give a little bit of light to the skin. Or not. Not sure whether that's made any difference at all actually. But it's given my skin a little bit of a glow. I think because I'm quite pale, I think the lips need a little bit of pink in. So let me blot this affair down. It's quite nice. So I've got the stain of it, and I'm just going to add a little bit of the Dior Addict Lip Glow. This again, obviously, as you know, is super sheer. This is it. I just needed a little bit of something else that wasn't from the brown family. That's better. That was all I needed. You see how it was just sort of turning to be a little bit grubby looking almost. But yeah, she's good. Okay, so let's just calm the hair down. My hair's growing a lot more now, which is great. I'm trying out lots of hair oils, trying to find a hair oil that doesn't make my hair look greasy or feel lank just after one application. This is great, Mon Pure. I think I talked about the bread one the other day, which was lovely. This really, I can't overdo this oil. Super, super lightweight. Like, did you see that? It's almost like, I can't even tip it down. It is like water. Very, very watery. It doesn't feel oily at all. But what it does do is gives my hair, there's like a little bit of sheen and shine without it looking lank and oily, which I think is so, so helpful. I prefer to wear my hair like a little bit flatter. So I put this in, I just brush it through because it just expands naturally. And I'd probably just like brush it. This is a really old Shimura brush that I've had for years and years, like a big old paddle brush, which is such a comfort to use. And then I just twist it. Twist the oil into the hair and just soften that cuticle. It just kind of comes back to life and just looks a little bit more expensive rather than sort of like, you know, stable hay vibes. Anyway, Mon Pure, I hadn't heard about it before. Their shampoos have won loads of awards. I did try the shampoo and conditioner, it didn't work for me, but that's because I need so much moisture. But the difference is pretty good, right? That feels and looks much more healthy and less parched. Anyway, so that's my look for today. I feel so much more put together. Looking forward to seeing whether you agree, whether you like it, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye. Hello. You just woke it up. You just woke it up, did you? Hello. Hello. Should we go for a walk now then? Now the sun's out. Looking at Dad.